Chapter 1. When you encounter unkindness. When someone treats you poorly, whether through criticism, betrayal, or cruelty, your instinct might be to retaliate, justify, or retreat. But pause. Ask yourself, is their action justified? If they are right, then there's no room for complaint, only reflection. If they are wrong, then they are mistaken, not evil, just misinformed or misguided. Now ask, how many mistakes have you made in your own life? Countless. So why would you hold others to a higher standard than you do yourself? This isn't about letting people walk all over you, it's about choosing your response wisely. Marcus teaches us that we should speak to others directly when they've wronged us, but always with affection, never with malice. The goal is not to shame, but to guide. And if speaking doesn't help, then return inward. Ask yourself, what qualities has nature given me to counter this unkindness? The answer lies in kindness itself. It's one of our most powerful tools, not weakness, but strength disguised as gentleness. People rarely continue to act cruelly toward those who consistently show them compassion. So remember, no matter what anyone says or does, your task remains the same, to be good. Even if you trusted someone who didn't deserve it, don't blame them. Blame the assumption you made. Recognize that bad people exist, and encountering them is not a flaw in the world, but a fact of it. The true harm comes not from their actions, but from allowing them to make you like them. Retaliation is easy. Remaining virtuous in the face of provocation, that is the noblest form of revenge. Practical reflection. Next time you feel wronged, pause before reacting. Ask, is this person right or simply mistaken? Respond with clarity, not anger. Use kindness as a shield, not a crutch. Chapter 2. Everything depends on interpretation. Everything, absolutely everything, hinges on how you interpret it. A missed opportunity can be a tragedy or a redirection. A setback can be a failure or a lesson. A harsh word can be an insult or a misunderstanding. Marcus reminds us, everything is interpretation. Of course, this isn't literally true. Some things are objectively painful or harmful. But as a mental tool, it's invaluable. How you choose to see something determines how it affects you. So when something happens, good or bad, don't jump straight to emotion. Instead, observe, interrogate. Ask, what meaning am I assigning to this event? Because once you understand that, you can change it. You can shift your perspective. You can transform suffering into growth. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Train your mind to separate events from the stories you tell about them. Raindrops hitting your skin are neither good nor bad until you decide they are. Choose not to feel harmed, and you won't be. Choose to find value in adversity, and you will. That's the power of perception. Practical reflection. Keep a journal of events that upset you. Reinterpret them from a neutral point of view. Write down alternative meanings. Notice how your emotions shift. Chapter 3. Control your mind, master your life. Your body feels pain. Your senses react. Your environment changes. All of these are outside your control. But your mind? That is yours. And learning to govern it is the key to inner peace. Marcus tells us, don't allow pain, drowsiness, fever, or loss of appetite to alter your behavior. Why? Because giving in to physical discomfort makes your mind a slave to your body. And when your mind becomes a slave, unhappiness follows. You know this already. How often have you skipped a workout because you were tired? Cancelled plans because you weren't in the mood? Postponed dreams because you didn't feel ready? That's your body whispering limitations into your ear. But your mind was built to rise above that, to choose reason over impulse, to act despite fatigue, to lead even when your body resists. So practice this daily. When discomfort arises, emotional or physical, remind yourself, I am choosing to give in. Say it aloud if you must, because awareness is the first step to mastery. Once you realize that your reactions are choices, you reclaim power, and with consistent training, you build a fortress within, unshakable, calm, resilient. Practical reflection. When feeling resistance to a task, say, I am choosing to give in. Then take one small step forward anyway. Repeat daily. Chapter 4. Act deliberately, not automatically. Most of us live on autopilot. We wake up, scroll, work, eat, scroll again, sleep, without ever asking why. Marcus warns against this. He urges us to live deliberately, to question every action, to align everything we do with our values and purpose. Every time you act without thought, you risk moving further from who you want to be. So slow down. Observe your mind. Ask, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Does this serve my highest self? If you can't answer, stop. Reassess. Purpose is the compass that keeps us from drifting. Without it, even success feels empty. With it, even hardship becomes meaningful. Acting deliberately also means being mindful of your soul. Ask yourself, what kind of person am I becoming through my actions? Are you acting like a child, a tyrant, an animal driven by impulse? Or are you cultivating wisdom, virtue, and self-awareness? Your life is shaped not by grand moments, but by the sum of your daily choices. So choose them carefully. Think critically. Live intentionally. Practical reflection. At the end of each day, review one decision you made. Ask, was this deliberate or automatic? Reflect on how it aligned or not with your values. To Chapter 5. Humanity was born for cooperation. We're wired for connection. Not competition, not conflict, but cooperation. Marcus reminds us that we are constituted for one another, that helping others isn't just a moral duty, it's part of our design. Yet too often, we fall into resentment. We grow angry at those around us. We criticize, we isolate, we withdraw. But this only breeds unhappiness. Instead, try this. See people not as obstacles, but as fellow travelers, each carrying burdens you may never fully understand. Everyone you meet, friend or foe, is fighting a battle you don't see. So respond with empathy. Speak gently, even when provoked. Help where you can. Forgive when necessary. Because kindness is not weakness. It's the quiet strength of a mature mind. Marcus suggests that when you struggle with others, contemplate their positive qualities. Remember the generosity of one, the patience of another, the courage of a third. Keep these memories close. They soften the heart and open the mind. And above all, don't let the foolishness of others turn you into someone you're not. You are here to be good, no matter what they do. Practical reflection. Think of someone you recently clashed with. List 3 positive traits they possess. Reflect on how that changes your perspective. Chapter 6. Your opinion of yourself matters more than others' opinions. We all love ourselves more than we love other people, yet we care more about what others think than what we ourselves believe. Isn't that strange? Think about it. You know your intentions better than anyone else. You understand your journey, your struggles, your values. Yet how often do you second-guess yourself because someone disapproves? How many decisions have you made not because they were right for you, but because you feared judgment? Marcus Aurelius reminds us, don't be overly concerned with the opinions of others. He's not saying to become arrogant or indifferent to feedback. He's saying this, if you know something is right, then do it. Even if no one understands, even if everyone disagrees. Because ultimately, the only opinion that matters is your own, when it comes from wisdom, clarity, and self-awareness. So ask yourself, Why do I care so much about what strangers think? Most people don't even know themselves well enough to offer meaningful judgment. And those who do know you, the ones whose opinions actually matter, will support you, even if they don't always agree. Marcus also warns against seeking praise from people you don't respect. That's a trap. Why would you seek approval from someone whose life you wouldn't want to live? Someone whose values you don't admire? That kind of validation is empty. It doesn't nourish the soul, it weakens it. Instead, build your identity on your own terms. Be honest. Be straightforward. Don't try to impress. Don't pretend to be someone you're not. Let your actions speak louder than your image. And remember, it's okay to change your mind, especially when new information shows you were wrong. Changing your mind isn't weakness, it's strength. It means you value truth over ego. So here's the challenge. Start living according to your principles, not the expectations of others. Speak your thoughts with kindness, but without apology. Act with integrity, even when it's unpopular. Because when you align your life with your values, the opinions of others lose their power. And that's when you truly begin to live. Practical reflection. Think of a decision you postponed due to fear of judgment. Ask, would I still do this if no one ever found out? If yes, take one small step toward it today. Chapter 7. Be open to correction, but not controlled by it. There's a difference between being corrected and being controlled by correction. Marcus Aurelius believed in humility. He believed in listening, in learning, but he also believed in discernment, because not every correction is valid. Not every criticism deserves weight. Sometimes people correct you not to help, but to control, to impose their worldview, their agenda, their insecurity. So how do you know when to listen and when to hold your ground? Here's his advice. Be open to changing your mind, but only when the evidence supports it, only when it aligns with reason and virtue. Don't change your mind because someone shouted louder, or because you felt pressured, or because you wanted to fit in. Change your mind because you've seen a better way, because truth has revealed itself, because logic has convinced you. That's not weakness, that's maturity. Marcus says, to change your mind and accept correction, that is yours to do freely and nobly. So don't fear being corrected. Welcome it, as long as it comes from a place of wisdom, not manipulation. And just as importantly, learn to tolerate others' freedom of speech. You can't control what people say, but you can control how you respond. Listen attentively. Try to see things from their perspective. But don't let their words define your worth, because your worth comes from within, not from applause or agreement. Practical reflection. Next time someone criticizes you, pause before reacting. Ask, is this helpful, or is this just noise? Decide whether to act on it or release it. Chapter 8. Uphold equality, even when you hold power. Power changes people. It reveals who they really are. Some use it to serve, others use it to dominate. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor, the most powerful man in the Roman world. Yet he reminded himself constantly, recognize that power corrupts. He knew that with authority came temptation. Temptation to be cruel, temptation to be selfish, temptation to forget the humanity of others. That's why he wrote, resist becoming despotic. Take care not to be transformed into a Caesar. He didn't want to become like the tyrants before him. He wanted to be different, to rule with justice, with compassion, with restraint, and above all, with humility. He believed in equal rights under the law, in treating everyone, rich or poor, powerful or powerless, with dignity. Because fairness isn't just a policy, it's a principle, a way of life. So wherever you find yourself in a position of influence, whether at work, at home, or in relationships, ask yourself, am I using my power to lift others up? or to keep them down? Am I making space for voices that differ from mine? Am I listening, or am I silencing? Because true leadership isn't about control. It's about service, about creating space for others to thrive. And when you lead that way, with fairness, empathy, and equality, you inspire others to do the same. Practical reflection. Reflect on a time you held power over someone. Did you use it to help, or to assert dominance? What could you do differently next time? Chapter 9. Self-respect is the foundation of integrity. Self-respect is not arrogance, it's not pride, it's not superiority, it's simply honoring your values and refusing to betray them. Marcus Aurelius said, "With every act, ask yourself, are you respecting yourself with it?" That's a powerful question, because every action you take either builds your self-respect or erodes it. Every time you compromise your values to please someone else, every time you say yes when you mean no, every time you stay silent when you should speak up, you weaken your sense of self. But every time you act with honesty, with courage, with conviction, you strengthen it. That's why Marcus urges us to watch for impulses we don't truly believe, to avoid saying things just to impress, to stop chasing approval at the cost of authenticity, because nothing harms self-respect faster than pretending to be someone you're not. And when you lose self-respect, you lose peace. You start doubting yourself, feeling ashamed, regretting choices. So protect your integrity. Speak your truth, kindly but clearly. Stand by your principles, even when it's hard. Because in the end, the only person you need to answer to is yourself, and the best version of yourself deserves your respect. Practical reflection. Think of a recent situation where you compromised your values. Ask, what would I tell a friend in this situation? Act accordingly, starting today. Chapter 10. Anger is not strength. Kindness is there's a myth in our culture that anger equals strength, that showing emotion is power, that passion is proof of conviction. But Marcus Aurelius saw it differently. He believed that real strength lies in self-control, in composure, in kindness. He wrote, "There is nothing manly about giving in to emotion. It is courtesy and kindness that define a human being." Think about that. When someone loses their temper, do you admire them? Or do you feel uneasy? Do you trust them more or less? Anger might feel powerful in the moment, but it rarely leads to good decisions. It clouds judgment, burns bridges, damages relationships. Kindness, on the other hand, is quiet strength. It takes discipline to remain calm when provoked. It takes courage to respond gently when attacked. It takes maturity to choose understanding over retaliation. And that's what defines a strong person. Not loud emotions, but deep control. So next time you feel anger rising, pause. Ask yourself, will this reaction help me become the person I want to be? If not, breathe. Choose your response carefully. Because strength isn't about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself. Practical reflection. The next time you feel angry, count to 10 before speaking. Ask, is this helping me or hurting me? Choose a calmer response, and notice the difference it makes. Chapter 11. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This is one of the most powerful Stoic principles, the idea that obstacles are not just challenges to be avoided or feared, but opportunities to grow, adapt, and become stronger. Think about it. When something goes wrong, a missed opportunity, a failed project, a broken relationship, we often feel defeated. We see it as a setback, a roadblock, something that derails our plans. But what if you could reframe that? What if that very obstacle was actually the path forward? Because every time life throws a challenge at us, it gives us a chance to respond with wisdom, resilience, and creativity. You don't need things to go perfectly to succeed. You only need to respond well when they don't. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine your car breaks down on the way to an important meeting. Your first reaction might be frustration, maybe even anger. But instead of getting stuck in that emotion, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What alternatives do I have? Can I call someone, reschedule, work remotely? Suddenly, the obstacle isn't stopping you, it's forcing you to think differently. And that's the point. Marcus reminds us that the mind has the power to adapt and convert any obstacle into fuel for progress. So how do you cultivate that mindset? By training yourself to look for the hidden benefit in every difficulty. Ask, how does this help me grow? What strength is this building? What lesson is this teaching me? Every adversity is a test, and how you respond defines who you become. That doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means refusing to let hardship define your character. It means choosing to act, not react, to move forward, not backward. Because the truth is, life won't go according to plan. But that doesn't mean you can't still reach your destination. It just means you'll take a different route. And sometimes that detour leads to something better than you ever imagined. Practical reflection. Think of a recent obstacle you faced. Ask, how did this help me grow? Write down 3 ways it made you stronger. Use that insight next time a new challenge arises. Chapter 12. Adversity is part of nature. The universe is indifferent. It doesn't care whether you're having a good day or a bad one. It doesn't pause to check if you're ready before throwing a curveball. That's nature. That's life. And rather than fight it, Marcus Aurelius encourages us to accept it. He didn't believe in praying for favorable circumstances. He believed in praying for the strength to endure whatever comes. Why not rather pray for the gift to fear none of these things, to desire none of them, to sorrow for none of them, rather than that any one of them should be present or absent? That's a radical shift in perspective. Instead of begging the universe to give you what you want, ask yourself, am I strong enough to handle what I get? Because suffering doesn't come from events themselves, it comes from our resistance to them. Loss, pain, failure, these are natural parts of being human. Everyone experiences them. Even the most successful people face setbacks. What separates those who thrive from those who don't? Their ability to endure, to find meaning in suffering, to say, yes, this hurts, but I will not break. Marcus reminds us that it's through adversity that we build character. Like iron sharpened by friction, we become stronger through hardship. So the next time something difficult happens, don't curse your luck. See it for what it is, a chance to prove your resilience, a test of your inner strength. And remember, it's unfortunate that this has happened. No, it's fortunate that this has happened, and I've remained unharmed by it. Because every time you face adversity and choose not to be defeated, you grow. You become wiser, more grounded, more capable. That's the beauty of life. The very struggles we wish to avoid are the ones that make us who we are. Practical reflection. Reflect on a past hardship that shaped you. Identify how it made you stronger. Next time trouble comes, remind yourself, this too will shape me. For Chapter 13, Nothing New Under the Sun, Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, and us, that history repeats itself. Whatever you're going through now, someone else has gone through before. Relationship issues, financial problems, workplace stress, existential doubts. All of it has been experienced by countless others throughout history. Everything has happened before, and will happen again. That's not meant to depress us. It's meant to comfort us. You are not alone. You are part of a long line of humans navigating the same emotional terrain, the same fears, the same hopes, which means there's wisdom in the past, there are lessons already learned, and there's no need to reinvent the wheel. If you're struggling, look to those who came before you. Read their words, study their actions, learn from their mistakes, because if you can tap into that collective experience, you gain strength. You realize your problems aren't unique, they're universal, and that makes them easier to bear. Marcus also warns against getting caught up in small dramas. People lose sleep over things that seem huge in the moment, but are ultimately insignificant in the grand scheme of life. Instead of obsessing over petty conflicts, focus on what truly matters, on what lasts. Character, integrity, wisdom, love. Those are the things worth your energy. Because while the details of life change, the core of the human condition remains the same. And understanding that brings peace. Practical reflection. Think of a current problem you're facing. Research how others have handled similar situations. Apply one lesson from history or philosophy to your situation. On Chapter 14, stay focused on what matters. Marcus Aurelius lived a life filled with distractions, wars, politics, family, philosophy, yet he constantly reminded himself to stay focused on what truly mattered. Our business is with things that really matter. In today's world, that message is more urgent than ever. We live in a culture of constant stimulation. Notifications, news feeds, messages, alerts, they pull us in 100 directions, and in the process, we lose sight of what's important. Marcus teaches us to filter out the noise, to eliminate what's unnecessary, to act deliberately. He suggests doing fewer things, but doing them better. If you seek tranquility, do fewer things. Better, do everything as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life. That's a powerful exercise. Next time you're about to do something, ask, is this aligned with my values? Will this bring me closer to who I want to be? If not, stop. Don't waste your time. Focus instead on what truly serves you. Also, don't let emotions override reason. Fear, anger, impatience, they cloud judgment, lead to rash decisions. Instead, ground yourself. Return to the present. Do the task in front of you, fully, with presence, with purpose, because that's where fulfillment lies, not in chasing future rewards, not in avoiding discomfort, but in showing up, fully, to whatever is right in front of you. Practical reflection. Choose one task today, and do it as if it were the last thing you'll ever do. Eliminate distractions. Focus completely. Notice how it feels to be fully present. Chapter 15. Master your emotions through discipline. Emotions are powerful. They can inspire us, motivate us, but left unchecked, they can also destroy us. Marcus Aurelius knew this. He understood that discipline, not passion, is the foundation of a good life. It is not manly to be overpowered by pleasure or grief. He wasn't saying to suppress emotions. He was saying to master them, to observe them, to understand them, to choose your response. Anger, sadness, frustration, they come and go. But if you identify with them, they control you. Instead, practice emotional detachment. Watch your feelings like a scientist observing an experiment. Ask, why am I feeling this? Is this helping me? Is this true? Most importantly, don't act on impulse. Give yourself space between feeling and action. Take a breath, walk away, reflect, then decide. Because discipline isn't about denying emotion, it's about directing it wisely. And when you do that, when you learn to pause before reacting, you reclaim control of your life. You stop being a puppet of circumstance and start becoming the author of your own story. Practical reflection. The next time you feel a strong emotion, pause. Write down what you're feeling and why. Wait 10 minutes before acting. Notice how your decision changes. Chapter 16. Accept that death is part of life. Death is a shadow that follows us from birth, and yet we spend most of our lives pretending it doesn't exist. We avoid thinking about it. We distract ourselves with work, entertainment, and endless scrolling, anything to not face the reality that one day our time will be up. But Marcus Aurelius didn't run from this truth. He embraced it. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to awaken you. Because when you accept that death is inevitable, something shifts. You begin to live differently, more deliberately, more fully. Marcus reminds us that death is not an enemy. It's part of nature. It's the great equalizer, the final act in a life well lived or poorly lived. So why do we fear it so much? Because we haven't truly lived yet. Because we've wasted time chasing things that don't matter. Approval, possessions, status, pleasure. Instead of focusing on what does matter, character, virtue, love, wisdom. So here's his challenge. Live as if today is your last. Not in a reckless way, but in a meaningful one. Speak kindly to those you love. Say what needs to be said. Do what matters most. Let go of grudges. Forgive yourself. Apologize when needed. Make peace while you still can. Because death doesn't care how prepared you are. It comes when it comes. And when it does, the only thing that remains is who you were, not what you owned, not how many followers you had, not even how long you lived. So ask yourself, am I living in a way that I would be proud to have ended today? If not, change course. Now, because death isn't the end of meaning, it's the test of it. Practical reflection. Write down one thing you'd regret not doing if today were your last. Do it, or make a plan to do it soon. Chapter 17. Time is your most precious resource. You wake up every morning with the same 24 hours as everyone else. No more, no less. And yet most people waste it. They scroll endlessly, watch videos they don't really want to see, engage in conversations that lead nowhere, chase distractions like they're valuable. Marcus Aurelius knew this trap well. He wrote, "Don't act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." That's not just poetic language. It's a call to action. Every moment you waste is a moment you'll never get back. And once it's gone forever. So stop procrastinating. Stop waiting for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There is only now. Use it wisely. Spend it on what matters. On relationships, on growth, on purpose, on peace. Because everything else is noise. And the older you get, the more painfully clear that becomes. Marcus urges us to constantly remind ourselves, you are mortal. You have a limited time. So don't let others dictate how you use it. Don't let social media, gossip, or obligation steal it from you. Guard your time like gold, because that's exactly what it is. Your life is made up of moments. How will you choose to fill them? Practical reflection. Track how you spend your time for one day. Identify where you're wasting it. Replace one distraction with something meaningful. Chapter 18. Change your mind. When it's warranted. There's a quiet strength in changing your mind, yet many of us resist it. Why? Because we confuse consistency with integrity. We think that once we take a stance, we must stick to it, no matter what. But Marcus Aurelius saw it differently. He believed that to change your mind was not weakness, it was wisdom. To change your mind and accept correction, that is yours to do freely and nobly. Think about that. Changing your mind isn't defeat. It's evolution. It means you've grown, you've learned something new, you've seen a better path. And that's not failure. It's progress. Of course, you shouldn't flip-flop on every opinion just to fit in or look good. But if the evidence changes, or your understanding deepens, then your position should too. That's not inconsistency. That's maturity. Marcus warns against clinging to pride or stubbornness. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit you were wrong, or at least uncertain, or open to new ideas, because in the end, truth is more important than ego. And being right is not the goal. Being wise is. So next time someone challenges your belief, pause. Ask yourself, am I holding on to this because it's true, or because I hate being wrong? If it's the latter, let go, and move toward what's wiser, even if it means changing your mind. Practical reflection. Think of a belief you held strongly 5 years ago. Has it changed? If yes, reflect on how that helped you grow. Chapter 19. The world will keep turning without you. There's a strange comfort in realizing that the world doesn't revolve around you. You might feel like your presence is essential, that if you step away, everything will fall apart. But the truth? Life goes on. Work continues. People adapt. Marcus reminds us, keep in mind that everything that exists will change and perish, including you. And that's not a bad thing. It's liberating. Because when you understand that the universe doesn't need you to keep spinning, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure. You stop taking everything so personally. You realize that your job, your relationships, your projects, none of them will last forever. And that's okay. What matters is how you show up while you're here. Do you give your best? Do you treat people with kindness? Do you live according to your values? Because when you're gone, others will step in. They'll carry on, just as you did before. So don't carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're important, but not irreplaceable. And that's a beautiful thing. It means you can rest, you can breathe, you can let go, because the world will keep turning, whether you push it or not. Practical reflection. Think of a responsibility you feel burdened by. Ask, would the world stop if I stepped back? Take a break and notice how things unfold. Chapter 20. Repeating mistakes is a choice. We all make mistakes, that's part of being human, but repeating the same ones, again and again, that's a choice. Marcus Aurelius understood this. He wrote, "Begin each day by reminding yourself, I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." He wasn't being cynical, he was being realistic. He knew that people, including himself, often fall into patterns, habits, thought loops, emotional reactions, unless we consciously break them. So he urged constant self-reflection. Reflect often upon the rapidity with which all existing things, and things that come into being, vanish and are swept away. Which means, don't assume you'll always have time to fix things later. If you want to grow, start now. Identify the habits, thoughts, and behaviors that keep tripping you up. Then address them, one by one. Maybe it's procrastination, maybe it's reacting with anger, maybe it's staying in a situation that no longer serves you. Whatever it is, own it, name it, change it. Because if you don't, you'll keep reliving the same cycle, and that's not fate, that's habit. Break it before it breaks you. Practical reflection. List 3 recurring mistakes you make. For each, write 1 action you can take to break the pattern. Chapter 21. Live according to nature, not opinion. Live according to nature was a core Stoic principle. For Marcus Aurelius, it meant aligning your life with reason, virtue, and reality, not with opinion, status, or illusion. Nature gave you eyes to see with, ears to hear with, hands to touch with, and a mind to understand with. So why do we ignore what's in front of us? Why do we chase after things that don't bring lasting fulfillment? Why do we believe the loudest voices instead of the wisest? Because we forget what truly matters. Marcus reminds us that external validation, wealth, fame, praise are not the goals of life. They're distractions. They pull us away from what's real, from what lasts: character, wisdom, courage, justice, self-control. These are the true measures of a life well lived. So stop measuring yourself by others' standards. Stop comparing. Stop competing. Start observing. Start reflecting. Start acting in alignment with your highest self. Because when you live according to nature, according to reason and virtue, you find peace, even in chaos, even in loss, even in uncertainty. Because you're grounded in truth, in purpose, in yourself. Practical reflection. Identify one value you're not currently living by. Take one small step today to honor it. Chapter 22. Build a life worth living, one choice at a time. Life isn't built in grand moments, it's built in choices, small daily decisions: what you eat, who you talk to, how you respond to stress, whether you speak kindly or harshly, whether you act with courage or convenience. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, every hour focus your mind attentively, as if you had to stand before God immediately afterward, on what you are doing, saying, thinking. That's not a threat, it's a reminder. You're shaping your life with every thought, word, and deed. So build intentionally. Build with purpose. Build with awareness. Because one day, you'll look back, and you'll see the life you've created, not from big events, but from the accumulation of tiny choices. So ask yourself, who do I want to become? And then, what choices support that? Make those, every day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because in the end, a life well lived isn't about luck or circumstance. It's about discipline, integrity, consistency, and above all, intentionality. So build your life stone by stone, with wisdom, with virtue, with care, and make it one worth looking back on. Practical reflection. Write down who you want to be in 5 years. List one daily habit that moves you closer to that person. Start it today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment about your experience. You could be the inspiration someone else needs, someone trying to find joy in their quiet moments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more insightful content. Thank you for being here, and always remember staying true to yourself, whether in solitude or with others, is the greatest strength of all. See you in the next video.